Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Four Lads Rangers Friday Night Live podcast, sponsored proudly by Rhino Express, Clydeview Fire Protection, and Joinery Atholl Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, Candid, and Local Dark Shop Online, our Sunday sponsor. Good evening, folks. We hope everybody is well. Great to see everybody in the comments already. We hope you had a fantastic new year. Andrew, how are you? You well?
I'm very well. Just talking to the boys beforehand, and it sounds like I had the most calm and reasonable New Year's out of all of them. So I'm feeling bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I've just finished a day of work, unlike you layabouts up north. So yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, I went to bed at 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, so I didn't even stay up for the bells, mate. So I'm not sure anyone's was exciting as mine. Kenny, you well? You good?
Well, no, but I'm good, yes. I've just been drinking for far too long, mate, and I'm beginning to hang a little bit.
And here's me thinking Kenny wasn't talking to me because I said the final episode of Stranger Things was a disappointment. But we'll get into that, I'm sure.
Utter nonsense. It was great.
Davie, you well, mate? How are you? Nice to see our documentary. Your documentary today going down so well from everybody watching. Fantastic response to Jock Wallace's documentary, which is now live on our YouTube channel. Fantastic response, Davie. Well done.
Oh, you know fine well, Steve. It was a labour of love. Love doing every minute of it. Great to be here. I don't think I've drank quite as much as Kenny, but I had a good go at it and hugged my knee, and I think that'll be me till I go to Tenerife next week.
Jeez, so quick to remind us of that. Ladies and gentlemen, 2nd of January in 1971 will always be remembered very poignantly by everyone at Rangers Football Club. We will never forget those who went to follow Rangers and never made it home, and they will forever be in our hearts and always be remembered. It will forever be a day in this football club that we will remember. And it's, as a podcast, we recognise that and send all our love to everyone affected and even to this day. So we will do our very best to do a podcast tonight that everybody enjoys. And we'll start off, obviously. It's going to be centred around tomorrow's game. What a massive opportunity for Rangers. Danny Röhl, obviously, there was the press conferences today. Says the players will be ready, wants them to take the emotion out of the game. Important to have a good start to the game, which I also feel is vital. And he believes his team are more prepared than when they played against the semi-final against Kenny. It's such an unlikely moment, but somehow we find ourselves with such an opportunity tomorrow. It's another sliding doors moment. Tynecastle has came and gone. We missed that opportunity. We can't afford to keep missing opportunities. This is it now. If Rangers want to be taken seriously, they need to act seriously. They need to go to Parkhead tomorrow and say, hold on a minute here. We are title contenders and we're not the wee boys that we've been made out to be. But Rangers have to switch because we haven't seen it so far. It's such a huge, massive moment. Rangers win tomorrow and it could galvanise everybody.
Yeah, these key games, going to Celtic Park, going over there, when you have this opportunity, when they're not playing well, their form is all over the place and their manager's under pressure, particularly after today. I've seen a little bit of that today and that's just crazy. So it's our opportunity to stand on their throats, so to speak. And it really is one of those games now that at some point, if this Rangers team, as you say, want to be taken seriously, you have to go and win these big games. Every game's a must win, or no game's a must win, whatever way you want to look at it. But this is actually one of those pivotal points in your season where you do have to turn around and lay down a marker. And if we can do that at some point, other teams are going to have to take it seriously. The media in this country will have to take it seriously because if we go over there and get the 3 points, Stevie, we are right in this title mix. There's just no getting away from that. We are. But the proof will be in the pudding tomorrow. It is that simple because the same as yourself, the same as Davie and Andrew here, will all be the same. We have been let down too often by Rangers in these key games. So this is a massive key moment for Danny Röhl as well. I feel that he's had his team for a few months now. Let's see what we can do. I liked the way he spoke today. I really liked the message and making sure that he knows and that we know that those players are going to be ready. And you've mentioned it yourself. Away to Hearts a couple of weeks ago, away at Tannadice just before that. Our away form in terms of results is not great, so it's time to change that tomorrow.
Davie, it certainly is. It feels like you would have to go back maybe 4 years for Rangers to win one of these sliding door moments when you look at perhaps the semi-final against Celtic in a really big, meaningful game. You know more than I that if Rangers are going to have to step out the shadow that we've been in for far too long, games like tomorrow can't keep getting passed up. The manager says he won't underestimate Celtic despite their under-on. He knows that if Rangers can get the win at Parkhead, then the club will be a huge confidence boost from that. I think it's key that we don't underestimate Celtic. They are a good side. They're not playing like they're a good side at this moment. They've been beaten 5 in the last 7, which has been a joy to watch, to be honest, because under Martin O'Neill, I thought they were going to just go away and win a treble. So this appointment has rocked them somewhat. And I've never seen their fans so despondent on X and stuff. They're really talking down their chances. It's one of those ones where Rangers have to be aware of the scenario, but also Motherwell set the blueprint there. Go at them. Go and have a go. Go and act like big boys and go and win this game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's very tempting to go on about how bad Celtic are and this manager they've got, but I'm too long in the tooth, I think, to fall for that until after we play them rather than before it. So for me, I know a lot of folk are laughing about them and mocking them and all that sort of good stuff. I'll only do that if I see them tomorrow and they're as bad as folk say they are and we beat them. I'm not going to talk about them too much up until that point in time. When it comes to our approach for tomorrow, I do think the reason Danny Röhl's become relatively successful in terms of the points he's gathered is because he's made us harder to make chances against. He's made us more solid, harder working. But I think tomorrow's a day for going for it. I think tomorrow's a day for getting in the front foot early and putting pressure on from the start. The atmosphere at Celtic Parkhead tomorrow will be the usual before the game starts. But if we can score first, I think if we score first tomorrow, it'll be interesting to see how they react in the stands to that. I was actually looking it up this morning because it feels as if we don't score first very often at Parkhead. We did the last time we went there, maybe we won 3-2, but we've actually only scored the first goal 5 times in the last 20 years. So it doesn't happen very often, but we don't tend to lose if we score first then. So I think it's really important we score first tomorrow. And in doing that, the only way we'll do that is if we go for them. So for me, there's this big decision to make around about, do we play a back 3? Do we play a back 4? Do we play one up front? Do we play wingers? But whatever system Danny Röhl decides on, we need to be on the front foot from the start tomorrow.
Andrew, Danny Röhl says there's more pressure on Celtic than there is on Rangers, which is interesting. He spoke about needing a strong referee during the week. Danny Röhl knows what he's doing. It's a clever guy. I think he's deflecting quite carefully there. Hearts play Livingston at home tomorrow. You would imagine Hearts will get 3 points. I think their next 3 games, Hearts, is Livingston, St Mirren and Dundee. So, in fairness, Hearts should mop that up. And then Hearts go into a really strong run where they've got Hibs and Rangers and Celtic and things like that. So, there's a difficult run coming up for Hearts, but you would imagine they would take 3 points. If we're serious, and I'd like to think we are serious about what we're going to be doing, it's really important that Rangers do not, for want of a better phrase, and I do apologise, shit the bed tomorrow, because we've done it far too often. Everybody's tired of it. Everybody's tired of this same repeating pattern. Go and buck the trend. Go and win the game tomorrow. Take it to them. Take it to them straight away. Go and dominate. Get in their faces. Go for it from the start and don't be bullied. Because too often we've went to these games and we've just been like rabbits in the headlights. Now's the time, Andrew. It has to be tomorrow and it has to be from the start.
I was going to say, Stevie, if you want a game to kind of mark this season for bucking the trend, this whole season's bucked the trend. We were dead and buried in the league in October. Celtic were going to go and win on a treble with Martin O'Neill. Hearts are going to win the league. Like, we have all of these scenarios where folk have confidently predicted exactly what's going to happen. You're confident that Hearts are going to pick up, a good run of points over the next few games. I can guarantee that right now. I would be foolish to put money on that. It's been ridiculous this season. But that's why you have to hope, you have to think that Rangers have got a chance, as you say, to buck that trend, to go on and win one of these big games, to go on and prove that there's more substance, that they have more ability than they have shown in the past. They need to do that. They need to do that if they want to be shown as league title contenders. You're going to pick up those 3 points, and that brings you within 3 of the current league leaders. That would be good to see. And you're right. I mean, far better Rangers teams have come to Celtic Park and, failed to come away with anything. We need to go there and compete. We need to go there and ideally pick up the 3 points. I won't make excuses for the team because I think one thing that has been levelled at them in the past is a lack of effort. And I don't think that's something that you can say should be lacking, especially when it comes to this game. With what's on the line, with what the potential is for next season. And let's not forget, we're going into a transfer window as well, where some of these players might well be playing to decide if they stay for the rest of the season. There's everything on the line there. There's everything to be gained. And you'll never have a better opportunity to stake a claim than going on and contributing something in this game, because this is when it means the most.
Pressure on Danny Röhl tomorrow, Kenny, Davie. There is this kind of narrative now being written that he hasn't won a big game, and despite the fact that there's so many comments, this is the worst Rangers squad we've seen. This is this team is 4th, 5th, 6th place team, etc. We're still kind of putting it against Danny Röhl that he hasn't won a big game. Unfair in my opinion, considering what he's got. But it's a difficult one for him because he goes in tomorrow knowing that he probably has to win to buck that trend, or at very least not get beat. And we don't want to start going down where he's lost his first 2. So when does the win come against Celtic and stuff like that as well? You're probably getting them at a fragile time, yes, but it's not a given. You know what derbies are like. So it's as important for Danny Röhl as it is for everybody else.
It is. However, it is one of those things. I'd be a hell of a hypocrite if I was going to stick a boot into Danny Röhl when literally about 3 weeks ago I was on here saying we're playing like a mid-table Premier League side. So, and I don't think that's down to him. I think that's down to the quality of player that we have. And I don't think any of us, any amongst us in the Rangers support are under any illusions that this isn't a strong squad of players that Rangers have. We've seen far superior squads to this. However, what I will give Danny Röhl huge credit for is being the pragmatic guy that he has been and making sure that we pick up the points that we're expected to pick up. The disappointment has been a couple of draws at home, one at home to Falkirk. That was a poor performance. The Dundee United game away from home. Then a week later, Celtic go up there and get beat. So it's not an easy fixture at the best at times. Hearts, I thought we were pretty poor in periods in that game, and it is what it is. I think we're just an inconsistent side, Stevie. So for me, it's very difficult to criticise Danny Röhl at this minute in time. I would wait and see how he does at the end of this transfer window in terms of being judgmental about it. However, the fact is that he hasn't won a big game for us or a must-win game for us yet. The record in Europe was poor when I think he had 5 games. I think he got 1 draw out of that. That was pretty poor. 4 games, I beg your pardon. And, it's the semi-final came very, very early for him, but I thought we performed very, very well in that. And we were a little bit unfortunate. So I'm not going to sit there and have a go at Danny Röhl personally, because I think it would be very unfair to turn around and say that he's not won a big game and that's because of him, because I think the majority of the reasons for that are down to the quality of squad that we have. And the lack of goal scoring options. I think that's let us down an awful lot of times in these big games where you're creating chances, you're just not taking them. And if we can fix that, then I'd begin to judge. That's where I would be with Danny Röhl. Once he's got a spine of a team to build with.
Yeah, I find it bizarre that anyone's criticising Danny Röhl just now. Actually, I think we've got short memories in terms of what he inherited. If MD thinks that he's not doing as good a job as you could possibly imagine, we were in absolute shambles when he took over. A shambles. We won one league game out of 8, I think it was. We were giving up 10, 20 chances a game. Some weeks it was ridiculous what we were watching. Yes, I think there is a criticism there in terms of maybe he's been a bit cautious in the bigger games. But look at the number of points he's picked up compared to what everybody else has picked up in that time. We're all talking about the great run Hearts are on. We've picked up something like 7 more points than Hearts since he took over. I mean, and they've lost twice in that time, even when we lost once. So I think criticism of him bonkers, to be honest. He's not got a single player in the door that he's wanted in. He's had to work with what he was given for 2 months. And what he was given 2 months ago was what we all described as one of the worst Rangers squads we'd ever seen. I think he's performed miracles. Now, it has absolutely helped the fact that Celtic seem to have imploded. It's helped the fact that Hearts started to start dropping points and we're in a position we didn't think we were going to get into. But what I would say as well is that if I think back a year, we were something like 14 points behind Celtic going into the New Year game last year under Philip Clement. And it wasn't because he couldn't, big games, it was because he wasn't picking points up week on week against everybody else. Daniel's actually more or less done that. He's got 8 wins out of 11. That's miles better than we were doing this time last year. Yes, tomorrow's I think is the day that the team of boys can become men if they've got the right attitude and the right setup and the right belief. Whether they've got that belief, I don't think we're going to know till they take to the park tomorrow. But criticising the manager at this point for me is just plain crazy.
Andrew, James Tavernier was a player, as it so often is against in these bigger games that the captain speaks. He spoke about more time on the training pitch has really helped the team. They're striving for that consistency. Always wants to be in the mix for titles, and insists it's important to stay humble no matter what happens tomorrow, no matter what situation there is. And he spoke about the fact that everyone's talking about the tactics it will face from Wilfred Nancy's team, and states that analysts at the club will have them well versed on exactly what they're doing. One of the big things is Celtic have conceded 5 set-piece goals in the last 6 games. So they're weak from there, and we have become a danger from set pieces. I think that's absolutely fair. So there is that to concentrate on, but also with their system, they leave a hell of a lot of space in between their centre backs and the wide bits, which is probably tailor-made for perhaps Mikey Moore and Gassama to be in that team and go at them. As much as Rangers need to be respectful, you can argue that Celtic aren't firing and maybe they're not, and that's absolutely fine. They still have Maedas, they still have Callum McGregor's, they still have these players that can turn up and win games. It would be remiss of Rangers and Tav and everybody to stand off them, but it would also be the exact same to not have that bit between their teeth and go into it. So I think Tav's right, but I also think there's a blueprint from what Motherwell done. I think there's opportunities from set pieces. That's why I would play Fernandes. And I think there's places where we can actually hurt Celtic. As much as we've maybe not been as strong going forward, I think that's fair. I think we can hurt them, and I think it's up to us to go and do that because other teams have shown us how.
Yeah, I mean, we can throw out all the cliches about form going out the window when it comes to an old firm, having to dominate the midfield, all those things. The truth of the matter is it will come down to whichever team wants this game more. It will come down to that motivation. Tav's an experienced campaigner with this. Unfortunately, I think he's had more disappointments than successes over the piece, but he does know what it's like to go to their place and win. He's done it before. We know that we have a squad of players who, on their day, can inflict injury. We have attacking players, Mikey Moore, Gassama, who can make an impact here. And as you say, Stevie, we've seen other teams who are on the fraction of the budget that we are go and inflict damage and inflict wins against them. So we know that that is going to be huge for us. I think Danny Röhl's been very clever in how he's approached this in terms of setting some of the media narrative, talking about wanting strong referees, which I think is going to be important going into this game. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But it does come down to the team that wants this more. Rangers, as we've said, have got this opportunity to go ahead and make a real statement here. Because as I said at the start, this is not down to, a matter of skill. Better teams than this have gone to Celtic Park and failed to pick up the 3 points. It's massive for both teams. Both teams will go in wanting to win this. So strongly suspect it will finish as a disappointing 0-0 draw and make everyone unhappy instead.
Would it be really wrong of me to say that I would take a point at this moment in time? It probably would be,
yes,
given how he's performing at this moment, Andrew. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But a point at Parkhead isn't the worst. I'm not saying I would settle. I want us to go for the throat. I want us to go for the jugular and have a real good go. But what we're talking about team-wise tomorrow then, gentlemen, as we kind of round up this bit, Jack Butland, I take it we're all in agreement. Jack Butland plays. Back four is interesting. Okay, Meghoma for me. Fernandez, Suter, and Dujon Sterling. Sorry, Tav, but James Tavernier cost us a goal against St Mirren. I don't know if you remember, he fell over the ball and promptly it went out for the corner. Tav's been slack in games. I don't think he's on it. His passing has been really poor. His delivery has been really poor. I'm not playing James Tavernier. My back four is that. Kenny, Davie, Andrew, are you changing that? And feel free to disagree with me. But Dujon Sterling starts right back.
I suspect for me, Sterling and Tav will both play. I think he will go to the back three, which he's done in the past for some of these bigger games. I know that the back three, if you like, has had detractors, but I suspect that's what he'll go for because his manager's been about that pragmatism. He's been about keeping the back door locked, and I think you are more secure when you have that extra body at the back. Sterling and Suter both being part of that defence are big for me, whether that comes as the 3 or a 5. Sorry, a 3 or a 4. But it's going to be interesting to see what he does with that. I suspect it will be that, stronger defence, and that changes what your approach is up top as well. Raskin and Connor Barron, for me, both start in the midfield for sure. And I think Gassama more Miovski, ideally, but again, probably Chimiti, based on the manager's recent selections, I think are where we end on that. But hey, I mean, I'm just an idiot, so I'm happy to open it up to the guys in terms of what they think.
I personally would go with a back three tomorrow, and I'll tell you why. I think Fernandez has to play for his threat in the other box, but I don't trust him in a pair. I prefer 2 other centre-backs around about him. I would play Sterling, Suter and Fernandez as a back three tomorrow. Meghoma picks himself on the left. There's a decision to make round about the right side, whether you play Aarons or you play Tavernier. I'm 50-50. Tavernier's got more experience. I actually think Tavernier played really well in the cup final. I thought it was his best ever game against Maida actually that day. So I might play him. I think Barron and Raskin pick themselves as in the engine room. I'd have Chimiti up front because I think he will be an absolute handful for their defence. I think he holds the ball up better. I think he can bully their defence. And I would have Moore and Gassama buzzing around off him. In effect, it's almost like the same system that Nancy plays with Celtic, but I actually think it suits our players better than it suits theirs.
I'm not sure what I would do, whether I'd play with 3 or 4 at the back, because, and it is solely down to the Tavernier question, actually, because I actually don't think he merits a start. However, I think if you play with a back three, he will start. I'm a little bit like Davie, where I think he might well be that little bit more pragmatic, going away from home over there and playing with a three. However, he might surprise us and play with just the two centre halves. And if he does that, then I'm totally with you, Stevie, that I wouldn't be playing Dujon Sterling in there, because I just think he's a better option. Actually, I think he's quicker. I think he's got more form about him. He's more physical, which I think we'll need. However, I'm not 100% certain where the likes of Maid is going to play, because by all accounts, he's playing through the middle a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Every time I read or see anything about them, they've got left backs playing as wingers and wingers playing as fullbacks, and I don't know what they're all about. So I genuinely don't know how they're going to set up. I know how they're going to set up, but I don't know what their team is going to be like at all, because there is all sorts of weird rumours going on about them at the minute. So who knows? But for me, I'm totally with you in terms of the back three or back four. My only concern is, as I say, that if he plays with a back four, I wouldn't start James Tavernier. I think he'll come on, but I would be more inclined to put Sterling on.
Yeah, my midfield would be Barron and Raskin. Everybody's going to hate me for this, but Diamandi, I would sit him on Callum McGregor because Bayrami's not fit. And then my front three would be Chermiti with Moore and Gassama really close to him, and playing as an actual three against their three. I would just go like for like right up against them. And I would count on my midfield to win that battle. Diamandi has been miles off it for me. But who else marks Callum McGregor, which is my thing. I don't think we can afford to sit off, and he dictates. And then the other two can pick up Hatate and probably Nygren that's going to play. Nygren, the Swedish boy who's got an eye for goal. So it's like for me. Diamandi would sit right on top. Would I like Bayrami to do it on McGregor? Yeah, possibly would, but he's not going to be ready, is he? So I think that's exactly where I am. And that gives us a wee bit of a worry possibly about Moore and Gassama's work rate, especially Gassama's work rate, which is a concern for me. Would we get overloaded on the left-hand side or right-hand side, depending on where he is? So there's a lot to consider and unpack, but I wouldn't go three at the back. I think three at the back is defensive, and I think this is a game where I would really like to see us go and press and be on them right from the very word go, gents. So that's why I say I would go like that. I wouldn't play Miovski. I think Miovski's been miles off it for Rangers. I really do. A couple of good games, fine. Danny's not been good enough at this moment in time, so he doesn't come in. Lyle Cameron, I don't think he's played enough to feature in a game like this either. So, would you potentially put somebody up? The reason you put Diamandi on McGregor as well is because Diamandi out of Raskin and Diamandi and Barron's probably the one that has the most attacking threat about him, or knows his way to goal more than the other two. So it's a conundrum. I don't think it's an easy one. But what I do think is Danny Röhl will have a plan. He'll have learnt from the semi-final. He'll have watched them. The analysts will have watched them. We'll know how to hurt them. Set pieces is going to be vital, and it's nice for Rangers to have an actual threat from that. And I think Fernandez in there is key. He is 9 foot after all. Is there any other players that we're missing out on that we're not thinking about that should possibly be getting a shout tomorrow?
I can't believe no one's talked up Kieran Dowell yet. I mean, this game's right for him to come back in and just really establish why he's such a key player for us. Same with Ravi Matondo as well, just severely underrated as a player. I mean,
does anyone have any serious suggestions on who?
What do you mean? That was very serious. I mean, realistically, Stevie, I think you've named the players who should be starting, or at least the players who are in contention. Completely agree with Danilo. Unfortunately, he's been given opportunities and just hasn't really taken them.
Can I just quickly jump in as well, Andrew? I don't think I would play Asgard and Gassama in the same team due to their work rate off the ball, because Chermiti, to me, doesn't work off the ball either as much. So you're potentially giving 3 boys that don't work off the ball in your starting 11 in a game where we need to win and battle and everything. So I think he's got a counter. Which one? Because if you play Gassama, you're almost giving him up. So you need the work rate of Diamande, Barron, Raskin, and you probably need Mikey Moore tracking back as well. So that's why I wouldn't tell Asgard, for me, as much as he scored a couple, doesn't feature.
No, I think if you take one or the other, you take Asgard over Kasama for sure. It's a difficult one because both have had their issues when it comes to showing that they're putting the effort in. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to shut up for a bit.
I put Gassama in my team for a reason, and it's because the way the Celtic manager sets up with his sort of three at the back and pushing wing backs forward, he leaves great big spaces out wide, and I think Gassama could have a lot of joy down the wing because if you look at a lot of the goals Celtic are, a lot of chances Celtic are giving up. They're giving up a lot of chances down wide and doing both sides because they're charging folk forward a lot. So I would play him. I wouldn't have Asgard anyone near the team tomorrow for exactly the reasons that you just mentioned. I think that he needs far too much time in the ball. He's too much a kind of luxury type player that doesn't put the work in. But I think speed's important tomorrow. I think if they push up the park and we can hit them in the break, I think you want speed. So I would play Gassama tomorrow.
I'm putting Asgard in my team tomorrow, actually, and I'm not playing Diamande. I'd actually play him slightly deeper and play him there. I would have Gassama on one side and Moore on the other, flanked by Chermiti, that I think the midfield picks itself in terms of Raskin and Barron. But it's a difficult one because I totally understand what you're all saying about the work rate and stuff like that. But for me, the reason I'm going with that is because I think we've got, as we've already said, there's clubs out there that have led by example on how to play this team that we're going to play tomorrow. And the simple fact is that any team that get real joy off of them, Motherwell midweek there, St Mirren, Hearts, Dundee United, all of late, have all got their press spot on. That's what they've done. They've got their press spot on. And the minute you press them properly and high up that pitch, they turn to shit. They do. That they can't play the ball out like that. And it's true. I mean, whether we can go and do that tomorrow is up to us. But other teams have proven that when you press them properly and you press them high up the pitch, there's goals galore for opponents because they are not good at playing out at this minute in time. So we have to get that right, and that's why I'm going with that, because I feel what you've said there, Davie, about a luxury player in Asgard, I totally agree with you, but I think if we actually ping him round about Callum McGregor, I think that's probably where I'd play him instead of Diamande.
Interesting, Kenny, because we've done that with Bayrami and nobody expected it, and he done really well. Maybe it could be the making of Tello. I don't know. Let's leave it there.
Stevie, I was going to say, I know it was a fairly forgettable game, but it is where Asgard played in the first Old Firm at home at Ibrox. And I know that obviously that game was so memorable with its abundance of chances that it impressed itself. But maybe that was just down to Thello really working hard and limiting their opportunities. Who knows?
Yeah, and what I would say about that is if Russell Martin thought it was a good idea, it was obviously not a good idea, so I wouldn't do it.
There's Davie, voice of reason as per. Moving on, transfer stories and rumours today. We'll try and cut through what's true and what's not. Reported that Danilo, Kieran Dowell, Ravi Matondo, Clinton Inciala and Nadim Barami have been put on the transfer list. My understanding is that's not true. The truth of it is that Rangers are open to offers for a multitude of their players, actually physically telling them that they've been told they can leave the club and things like that. I'm not sure that's true at all. Certainly heavily played down anyway. Already been reported that Joe Rothwell wishes to leave. I think that's all quite clear. I think he'll end up Sheffield United, Derby or whatever. I don't think any of those names on that list become a surprise, but for headline writers, I think it's quite easy to throw them out. I mean, look at it, for example, Dowell, Matondo, out of contract pretty easy. Nadim Bayrami has been linked with a move so much. Danilo's been linked with a move so much, and Clinton Inciala has been out of the team and only just really got back into it. I don't think it's setting the world on fire by suggesting that they might be leaving, and it's easy to write a story like that. I think that's what's clear here for me anyway. in all honesty, guys, we're not going to complain if there's a majority of them were to go out the door. I think that's fair. I think it's an easy story to write. And I think in the coming weeks, we are going to have to empty half a dozen, especially if we're looking to bring in 3 or 4. So we will see how that turns out. And at the end of that, the article could be pretty accurate, but it's not like you're actually suggesting anything that we don't already know. Is that fair?
Yeah, and what I would add to that is that when you look at the players that have been linked with a move out the way, and then you look at the links to players in the way, there's almost like for like, in terms of, well, he might be going, but we'll bring another one, a very similar position in and stuff like that. So it's not a hard sum to make to add up to, if you know what I mean. Well, there's a left-sided defender going, we're going to try and bring a left-sided defender. You look at that by Rami, we're looking at a 10. Yeah, we've heard it all. So personally, every single one of them that are on that list, I wouldn't be disappointed if they did all go, to be honest with you, because guys like Kieran Dowell and Rabbi Matondo have been here forever and contribute very, very, very little for a huge amount of money. And it's all at the end of the day, all it does is eat away at resources. Danilo's another one who I know is your mate, Stevie, but he's just contributing very, very little at this minute in time in terms of getting a contribution out of him that is worthy of the wages that he's picking up. So good luck to any and every one of them that heads out the door, but I won't shed any tears for any of them. I've got to say, I just feel that it's one of those scenarios we go through every flaming window where we just think and go, Christ, we've still got 12 we need to get out the door before we can properly rebuild again. And it's a never-ending cycle that we seem to be in at the minute. So no surprises at the story, whether it's made up or not. I couldn't care. If they go, they go. If they don't, they don't.
Kenny, are you enjoying your last pod on Four Lads? Yeah.
Are you upset now? Nearly as upset as I was when you told me that it was shit last night when it wasn't.
Yeah, Stranger Things ending was bollocks, mate.
No, it wasn't. It was good. Maybe need to rewatch that. Figure it out for yourself.
Maybe I do. Davie, Andrew, any surprises on that list? Anybody you would like to add in? Be careful, Davie.
What we said a couple of months ago is we wouldn't be upset if just about any of them left, would we? Dowell and Matondo have only got another few months left of picking up wages for nothing, so they've got to start looking elsewhere eventually, haven't they? So hopefully we might get one or both of them off the wage bill at last after them fleecing us for about 4 years. The only one that surprised me in it was Bajrami, simply because he came into the team and was quite impressive there before he got injured, and I thought Danny Röhl spoke quite highly of him when he did it, and I thought maybe once he came back from his injury, then he would go back into the first team squad again. But Insiala's never going to make it with us. I don't think he's physical enough for Scottish football. Bajrami's got a World Cup to go to, and I think he'll probably want to go and play regular football anyway. So none of them surprised me. The one that I thought maybe we would try and sell this January is actually Diamandi. He's not impressed me this season. His country's in the World Cup. He didn't make African Cup of Nations, so he'll be desperate to impress his national manager. I think if we bring a midfielder in, he's the one that's place is most at risk. So if I was trying to get some money in January, probably Diamandi's the one I would probably look at first to try and sell.
I'm impressed with the person in the chat who said that the Strangest Thing finale looked like a PS3 commercial. But that aside, I think Davey's point is right, that we sat here in the summer and said that pretty much everyone could go. And I think it's fair to say that we didn't exactly add an abundance of talent in the transfer window that followed that. So you could make the argument for pretty much anyone in the squad. Tav is first on the list. He's been a player who we've been attempting to replace for about 3 seasons, it feels like now. And yet he endures. So I don't think there's anyone in this squad who can feel comfortable, who can feel like they have a right to stay. I don't think anyone yet has earned the right to say that they belong in this Rangers team, or in Rangers rather than this Rangers team. But yeah, the list was unsurprising, but half of them are out of contract anyway in the summer. So the idea that they're transfer listed wouldn't be a massive surprise. It's an easy story for a newspaper to write, I suggest. I think it comes down to, basically pick your poison. There's plenty of players in this squad who are picking up a wage for, as Kenny says, contributing very little. So there's plenty of them there. So yeah, anyone can go. Anyone can go. That's what it comes down to. But unfortunately we still have to field an 11 until the end of the season. So not everyone can go.
Let's not talk about 11. She caused absolutely everything, didn't she, Kenny? Anyway, rumours of players coming in. Quite a few. Josh Windass, that rumour going away, won't go away. Story yesterday that was done and he was on his way up here and things like that. Completely untrue. Josh has a dead leg, so he's not injured for any serious length of time. Will that be revisited? I would gamble and say most likely Rangers will go back in for Josh Windass. And it's something that I would quite like to see. Braces for impact. James here told Al, definite interest in him as a sitting 6. We'll just need to wait and see what happens with him. There's links with others as well. James Penrice, left back. I'd wager to see that there's strong interest from Rangers there as well. Linked with Jack Harrison today as well, of Leeds, right-hand side. Makes perfect sense. The 49ers tie-in, etc. That could be something that just lands on our plate and we don't even know about it. So there's a lot of links currently. Newest one today, Elliot Watt at Motherwell. Again, my suggestion would be there's definite interest from Rangers in there, but more likely the summer than now. I think everyone's quite happy just to keep watching that and see what it is and see how that one progresses. He's got a soft spot for Rangers, Elliot Watt. So we just need to wait and see. Kenny, Davie, is there any names in there that kind of grab your attention?
On the Josh Windass one, I would turn around and say, from what I'm led to believe anyway, they have no intention of giving him giving him as on loan. They're just not prepared to do it.
Do you want a hand, Kenny? You all right, mate?
No, you're fine. I got there, mate. It just takes a wee while when you're hungover like I am. But the story I'd heard is that they're looking for about £5 million, and I wouldn't be paying £5 million for Josh Windass, not now or not when he was 23. I just don't think he's worth it. I've watched a couple of Wrexham games, and he is and always has been a tidy player, mate. But he's not for me. I don't think he's going to or ever be the answer. Put it that way. I like the boy Penrice. He's a tidy player. On the other ones, I don't know much about the Norwegian kid, but going by the stats, he's a very, very promising young player who would go on to bigger and better things in time, I would imagine. But in terms of the rumours, we're going to get them, as Andrew had said, we're going to get them every 20 minutes from here to the end of January. So I take them all with a pinch of salt until we get concrete news or something from the football club, mate, that there is genuine interest in it, because we go through it every transfer window and we can fill lots of podcasts with it, but invariably when you look back in all our transfer podcasts, they're all bullshit. So they're all just full of rubbish that we can't, we're sitting there, we've got to sit and report on it, we've got to sit and talk about the rumours, but very, very few of them end up being true. So we'll wait and see.
I think of the names you threw out at the start there, Stevie. Penrice is the most obvious one for me. It's crying out. We need another left back. We need to help young Macomb out there. We can't just play him every single week, I don't think. So that one would make absolute sense if it's true. Somebody that's I think he's 26, 27 years old. He's got quite a lot of games under his belt. He's impressed with Hearts. He's now out in Greece. I think that one, of all the ones you mentioned, it looks as if that one makes the most sense to me. Harrison one is the one I heard today, and that one actually I think would be quite a good signing if we get it. He actually is an English Premiership player almost. Okay, he's maybe not one of the top players, but he's somebody that's held his own at that level. So I think he would be a good signing. And as for Windass, I'll just say, if we were to spend $4 million on him, that would make Matondo's transfer fee look good business.
I didn't say I would sign him for £4 million.
No, but apparently, if we're saying that that's how much it would cost, that would be absolutely barking mad.
I don't think that's true either. Jack Harrison for me is a definite right-hand side loan for 6 months. Yes, a lot of comments. Who would you cancel loans? We're not cancelling any loans, folks. In case you haven't been noticed, we're not getting linked with centre backs for a reason. We're not cancelling loans. I think that's quite clear. Certainly at this point, that seems to be the words that are coming out. Andrew, anybody linked with that impresses you, or you would like the look of? I kind of agree with Davie. Penrice and Jack Harrison to me would be really good signings, especially on the right hand side. We've got nothing out there, and Ant-Man's out for what it was 2 months at the time, and that was what 3 weeks ago.
Ant-Man will be back February 1st. Don't you worry about that. Penrice for me is the one that makes the most sense because we need someone else to play at left back. It's been a bugbear of mine since we started, or we came out the summer transfer window. We need someone else there. Like, it's your basics in FIFA or Football Manager. You need to have 2 players per position. The fact we've started this season, we've gone through a whole transfer, like a whole half of the season with only 1 left back. I know that in theory we can play Aaron's out there, but every time I've seen him out there, he makes me really genuinely surprised that he ever thought that he could play out there. We need another left back. So Penrice for me is the slam dunk. Gorgic is the one that, we heard rumours about. I believe one of our other podders mooted him as an option as well on, one of the Wednesday shows. I think he would be a sensible option. Again, not necessarily one for the future, but someone who's a short-term signing who provides reinforcements into an area where we need more strength. But to be honest, I think the way that we have operated so far, the rumours that are out there right now, as Kenny has said, may not have much substance to them. And the first that we hear about a number of these transfers will be the day of, as we had with our footballing consultant. Nothing about that was rumoured until the day that it happened, and then he was in. So I sit in anticipation. We know that we need reinforcements for sure. I just suspect that we won't hear about any of them until moments before they happen, which is a positive thing, I suppose. Hurts us because we've got nothing to talk about, but it's Rangers. We'll always find something to talk about anyway.
Stevie, I think the one thing I would say about this transfer window, and it's really important actually, just on a broader scale, is that I think an awful lot of pressure will be put on the owners. I think the ambition that they have, I think they kind of need to prove it in this window. I think the last window was that kind of mediocre, we'll call it that I actually think they need a really strong and ambitious window, this window, to kind of prove the point that they've been trying to make, that they are serious, they want to progress the club and stuff like that. So who they bring in and where they come from is actually quite important for me, actually. Just in terms of proving that you've got the ambition to go and try and win this league and kick this football club, on at a quicker rate than it's happening at this minute in time.
Yeah, look, I think that Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi need to watch the narrative around them. They can't afford to have another poor window, that's for sure. And the thing is as well, and this is probably worth throwing out to the group, I was going to end the podcast because there's darts and all that on, but I'm going to end it with this. If Rangers win tomorrow, then all of a sudden you really are in a title race, and you really are in a position where does Andrew Kavanagh go, we could potentially automatically qualify for the Champions League if we win this league. Do we gamble? Do we go and get that £5 million player that might be extra compared to everything else? So tomorrow could have more bearing on not only, you know, Rangers as a team, Danny Röhl, and proving we might be in a title race, but it could have bigger implications for how we act in the transfer window, Davie.
I think that this transfer window should all be about players who can hit the ground running and make us challenge the title. The summer transfer window, we brought in a lot of potential and a lot of young guys and a lot of potential sell-on value. And somehow we've stumbled upon still being in the league championship race despite the way things have progressed this season. We'd be derelict in duty if we didn't actually look at where we are right now and say the opposition isn't that great, we're not that far behind, the right reinforcements, and we can actually challenge, regardless of what the result is tomorrow, actually, because there's still 17 games after that. We wouldn't be that far behind. I think this is the time now for us to show ambition, as Danny Röhl, I think, said in one of his press conferences, bravery and ambition. But it needs to be players who, as I say, hit the ground running and will be first team players from the minute they arrive. And if we do that, who knows how this season might end up.
Kenny, anything to add? Just watching your telly? You all right there?
No, I just noticed the darts are just starting with that. So, no, I don't have much more to add. As I say, I just feel that it is one of those opportunities that the owners have here. And I know Andrew Kavanagh is desperate to prove to the support that he's deadly serious. And I do feel that being brave, as Davie and Danny Röhl had both said there, that you have to be brave in this. And I think an awful lot of that bravery is down to getting players out as well, being really quite callous and forceful about getting some players out to free the wages up, to bring a better standard of player, because there is no doubt, we've discussed it many times, but there's no doubt in my mind that right through that spine needs improved. We need a number 6, we need a number 10, we need a striker, and we need that spine of experience, I think, in there. And that's what I'd like to see him ultimately try and do. And I'm going to stop talking because I'm getting my teeth are all over the shop here.
Fucking hell, mate. I didn't know. Broken or something. Right, folks, let's end it there. Davie, Kenny, Andrew, thank you all for coming on and sharing your thoughts with everyone.
My pleasure. Enjoy the darts. I don't know, I might watch it, I might not. I think Gary Anderson's still in, isn't he? I hope he wins it if he's still in it. But anyway, far more important, Amrit's not here to give the closing speech. Unfortunately, we could just play Derek Johnson's halftime interview for a couple of weeks ago. That would probably do it. But let's hope if we're here Monday, we're talking about the first Old Firm win of 2026 and on the way to title 56.
That would do, Andrew. Thank you, mate, as always.
It's a pleasure, Stevie, as ever. I was waiting for Kenny to dive in, but, I suspect if he starts talking, he might not be able to stop. So all I will say is that this is a massive opportunity for Rangers Football Club, and it represents something which we haven't really had for the past few seasons, which is a real opportunity to get ourselves back into a title race when we already thought it was dead and buried. We thought this season was a write-off. Back in October, we thought we were done. And we are now in a position where we find ourselves within 6 points of being top of the league, where we could be 3 points from being top of the league, maybe even closer, depending on, how Livingston get on. So it's all there for these players. It is all there for this manager, and it is all there for this owner as well. We have an opportunity here. I want these guys to go out and take it because it's there. It is there to be won. They just have to show willing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd say. Leave it all out there tomorrow, lads. Wish the team all the best and come back with the 3 points. That would be absolutely a tremendous start to the new year. And yeah, wishing all the viewers a happy new year also, obviously. But thanks for having me on, and I'm going to go for a lie down, mate. I'm gutted, honestly.
Yeah, mate, I think you should. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clyde Fire Protection and Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, Candid, and the local Dart Shop online Sunday sponsors. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Much appreciated. Everyone that is liked and subscribed on YouTube. If you haven't, please do. It really helps us grow. Well past 12,000 now. If you want to become a member also, you can. Simply by scanning the QR code top corner, join in for as little as 99p a month, gets you some extra shows. Currently, premiering is Chris Burke on the Rangers years, as I spoke to him and we done a podcast on his time at Rangers, which was hugely enjoyable. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you as ever for joining us. What I would say to the team tomorrow, lads, is go out there and give it absolutely everything. Play for the badge, not the name on the back of the shirt, and we'll remember you for that. It's about time we stood up and delivered. It's about time that we won one of these big games, and we're absolutely with you. And furthermore, we all believe in you. Go and get it done, Rangers. Go and bring the 3 points home, and let's do the most unlikely thing in the world. Let's go and really prove that we're in this title race. Now's the time. Not done it before, but this is the one to do it. Let's go, Rangers. Good luck. Good luck to players and manager. Kenny and I will be on straight after with the post-match reaction, and it would be nice if there was two baldy little legs being really happy at full time tomorrow. Fuck knows what condition Kenny will be in by that
I'll
point.
be able to speak tomorrow better than I will today.
Well, we'll give it a fairly good shot anyway. Good luck, Rangers. Have a good night, folks. Take care.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.